5 minutes and under coding. Now today we're going to be looking at how to create the code for something called a birthday dictionary. Now as you can see, I've already run the code here where it says welcome to the birthday dictionary. We know the birthdays of, and then list down some people, mostly notable scientists, and then it asks whose birthday do you want to look up. So I'm going to say, how about we look up Albert Einstein. And then it tells me Albert Einstein's birthday is March 14th, 1879. Now that's really cool. We can just look up famous people's birthdays and then figure out famous people's names and then figure out when their birthday is. But let's see how we can execute this in code. Over here, we have constructed a dictionary. Now this entire thing is a dictionary. A dictionary is basically where you have a key, and then in the key you store a value. So think about it like the key is like the term or the word, and the value is the definition. So Albert Einstein would be like the word, and his birthday would be the definition in this case. That's how dictionaries in Python works. And we've named the dictionary birthdays. As we can see here, we've set it to the variable birthdays. Now we'll use this variable later in the code. So I'm just going to print out a blank line just to make it look aesthetically pleasing, and then I'm going to print welcome to the birthday dictionary. We know the birthdays of, so as you can see, I've done it right over here, and then I go through a for loop. So it says for name in birthdays. So for every single name in the dictionary birthdays, we're just going to loop through it. So we're going to loop through Albert Einstein, Benjamin Franklin, Ada Lovelace. We're just going to loop through their names, and then we're going to print the names. So I've looped through the entire dictionary, as you can see, as I've done here, and I've ultimately printed all of the names from Albert Einstein to Arturi Ilmari Virtanen. Sorry if I butcher the pronunciation. And so after I've completed the for loop and printed out all the names, then I'm going to print out whose birthday do you want to look up. As you can see, I've done in the code. And then we're going to set name, so what the input of the user is, to input, and then they can input whatever they want. But we also can notice how I set this to be within the string function. So everything that they input has to be a string. If it's not a string, then it's incompatible. If I were to input that wouldn't be a name, so we don't want that input. So we're going to make sure it's going to be a string or a name by inputting a string. And then over here I see I have an if statement. So if name in birthdays. So if the variable name, which I set as the user's input, if that name is in birthdays, so if I inputted Mary Anning, which is in birthdays, then I'm going to print, and then you can see curly brackets, apostrophe s, birthday is blank. So blank's birthday is blank. Now, what are these curly brackets? As you can see here, right after the string, we have something called a dot format. What dot format essentially does is that dot format looks for the two curly brackets that we have here. So if we have curly brackets here, dot format will scan through and look for them, and then we put in parentheses in the order that we want them to correlate with a curly bracket that's representing the variable. We have the name, so the first curly bracket is going to print out a name, and then we're going to have birthdays, and then in square brackets name, and that's going to print out the birthday because we're pulling this from the dictionary, the index of that per se. Let's put it like that. So we're pulling out the value of the key, which we're going to represent by the dictionary, and then square brackets, and then name, which is the key whose value we are obtaining. And then we have an else statement, which is if they didn't enter a name that's in our dictionary, then we're going to say print, sadly, we don't have blank's birthday. And as you can see here, we're using the dot format method again, and we're also putting in the name that they inputted. Okay, now let's run this again with a better understanding of what we have. So whose birthday do you want to look up? I'm going to put this. Sadly, we don't have whatever I put's birthday. But then if I run it again, over here, I'm going to do Jane, oops, that's not how you spell Jane, Jane Goodall. And Jane Goodall's birthday is April 3rd, 1934. This was my short under 5 minutes tutorial, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you! Be sure to subscribe and like.